Hey, what's up y'all? So Dr. Investor back again with another video. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about real estate investing, personal finance, personal growth, and entrepreneurship. So today's topic, we're going to talk about what are some of the most important things an individual should do once they get that big attending check. So going from a resident to an attending. So for the individuals that are not familiar with the timeline of a doctor, so you go to medical school, then you do a residency program, and then you become an attending, also known as a supervising doctor if you're in a residency program. So once you get that attending salary, your income is going up drastically. Residents only make anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000, but attendings can make anywhere from $180,000 to $600,000. So you're going from maybe making $1,500 to $3,000 a month to getting several $10,000s of dollars a month deposited in your bank account. So as you can see, that's a stark difference. And as they say, more money can come with more problems, especially if you do not manage it correctly. But in this video, I will talk about how to manage your money correctly. I'm still a resident doctor like many of my other peers, but I feel like I'm qualified to give this advice because I've already made an attending salaries through my various business endeavors, so I've had to be smarter with my money, and I do have that long-term thinking and delayed gratification when it comes to money. So that's one of the reasons I feel like I'm qualified to give this advice. I'm not a financial advisor, so if you are seeking one, there are many financial institutions that offer one. Number one thing I would advise individuals is to pay off your credit card debts. Credit card interest rates can be anywhere from 20 to 35% annually. So let's say you're an investor and you're making 20 to 40% return on your investment. That is an amazing return on your investment. So you can see credit cards can really prevent you from achieving your financial goals. So the number one thing I would recommend is paying off your credit card debts. Credit cards aren't made for individuals to spend beyond their means. They prey on individuals who want to live a life that they maybe cannot afford. So when you're paying 20 to 40% in interest, how do you ever expect to pay that back? Because how do you ever expect to pay that back unless you have a defined plan? I highly recommend to be very cautious and thoughtful when spending money on your credit cards. Having a high credit score can save you a lot of money in the long run. If you do take out credit cards, you can get very low interest rates on your credit card because you're deemed a trustworthy borrower. If you get a home loan, you can get the lowest interest rates that your bank or lender offers. So as you can see, you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars by just being a great credit-worthy individual. Now I'm going to go over the components of a credit score and what's most important when determining your credit and what is least important when determining your credit. The number one component when determining your credit score is your credit payment history. This will determine how reliable you are as a borrower. So making sure you're paying your payments on time every month. It's very important to set up those automatic payments. The number two most important factor in determining your credit score is the amount of credit owed. So this entails your overall outstanding balances that you have revolving amongst all your credit lines. The number three most important factor when determining your credit score is length of history. So when you have credit cards, it's very important that you do not close them but pay them off. You have those credit cards or different lines of credit for long periods of time, this will increase your credit score. Important factor in determining your credit score is the amount of new credit that you have available. Like I said before, it's better to have old credit than new credit. When you're continuously opening up new lines of credit, that tells lenders that you're in need of money and you're trying to extend credit lines because you do not have enough liquid cash to pay for the things you need. Important thing when determining your credit score is the types of credit lines that you have available. This includes credit cards, car loans, student loans. So each credit bureau has their own calculation as what they deem as higher risk or lower risk. When a credit bureau has their own criteria of how they calculate their credit score based on the types of credits that you have available. As you can imagine, a credit bureau would be more inclined to give you a lower credit score if you have credit card debt as opposed to a home loan in place, because home loans are thought of as less risky to lenders as opposed to credit cards, which have really high interest rates. 35% of your credit score is your payment history. 30% is the amount borrowed, which is your outstanding balance. 15% is your length of history with your revolving loans that you have available. 10% is the amount of new credit you have available, and the last 10% is the different type of loans that you have outstanding. The next thing I would advise newer attending doctors to do is to make sure you have an emergency fund. You never know what could happen. Have an emergency fund put away just in case anything should happen. You know, in life, things don't always go in plan, but the best thing to do is to be prepared if anything should happen. You yourself know what liabilities you have within your life and things that could possibly go wrong. So it's important that you have an emergency fund for coverage if anything should go wrong. Piece of financial advice I would give to new attending doctors is to be very conscious with your spending. I see my fellow residents that are living way above their means. They're taking trips every couple weeks. They are in the club every weekend. They leasing and buying cars. They got the newest Louis Vuitton bag, newest Gucci bags. I know they don't got it like that. I know for sure they don't come from a family that got it like that. So just because you're a doctor does not give you the financial permission to just think you'll make it up later, which a lot of people have that mindset. They're willing to go into more and more debt because they think to themselves that I don't have it now, but eventually when I am an attending, my paycheck will increase. But the thing is with money, the more you have, that's just more money to mismanage. So it's important that you instill these principles early. Money is meant to be spent. It allows you many freedoms and opportunities. So I'm not saying to not enjoy yourself, but it's important that you start very early in being smart about your financial decisions. Make a list of things that you really love and can't go without, and make a list of things that you do that you can go without, and maybe think about cutting those things out and maybe save them for a later date when you're in a better, stable financial position. Most doctors have at least $300,000 in debt coming out of residency. If you want to be in a good financial position, is that you must have delayed gratification and you must have long-term thinking. Being wealthy or rich doesn't happen in one day. And maybe your goal is not to be wealthy or rich as a doctor. You just want to be financially comfortable. It's important that you have delayed gratification. Once you pay off those debts, it's very important that you invest your money, because you keep it in the bank, you are losing money on that money. Inflation is 3% a year, so you want to make sure you're investing your money in a way where you're making more than 3% return on your investment. Some great investment vehicles are 401k, which many employers match. Roth IRAs are great. My personal favorite is real estate, because you get debt pay down, you get a lot of tax benefits, and you get the appreciation piece when it comes to real estate. And you're in a special position as a doctor because many lenders have a loan product called the doctor loan, which you can buy a house with 0% down and you just have to pay closing costs. So once you're in a good financial position and you're doing the steps I recommended, which is paying off your debts, you can now take some of that new money that you're making and set it aside towards a fund to buy a home. It is very important once you get this newfound bigger paycheck is that you don't live on 100% on the money you make. Like I mentioned, make sure you're paying off your debts, make sure you're setting out money aside to invest, making sure you have that emergency fund. Making more money does not invite you to just be spending much more money. So I would recommend that you live as a resident, live similarly as you were doing as a resident, but now you have more disposable income to pay off the things that may burden you in the long term. Your financial goals are coming. Stay laser visioned on those financial goals and having that long-term thinking that I was talking about. There are many doctors who right out of training still lived as if they're a resident, and now 10 years later they're reaping those financial goals because they're not burdened by the things many other doctors are burdened by, such as student loans because they paid them off very quickly, credit cards because they no longer have credit card debts because they're putting a lot of their income towards eliminating the things that can burden them in the future, and now they're living a financially free life where they can have choices and opportunities with the money that they have. So that's a wrap this video. So make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll be back again before you know it with another fire video. If you know anybody who will benefit from my content, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe to my channel. The Dr. Investor is out.